Welcome to Podcast from the Pit. I'm Hillbilly,
Casey.
and we are joined live by
Live.
James, still a big kid. Welcome
That's
to
not my last name, right?
right. Welcome to the basement of the pit. I hope you
Man,
didn't have any issues going through um, security coming into the pit.
no, man. The voice recognition got me right in.
Good deal.
It's all the
Iris
upgrades.
The voice recognition always goes what with me. So
I'm not far behind you there, Eric. So, Hillbilly,
So we want to welcome you.
good to be here, fellas.
Glad to have you.
Never mind R2 here. I'll have to mute him. But we want to welcome everybody. And just want to glad to see everybody, or hopefully we'll have some people here in the next little bit. So James, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, let's see. I'll be 50 this year. I've been a Joe enthusiast, collector, whatever word you want to add there, since 1982. Got introduced to them the first year they came out. I was 8 years old, and man, ever since then, I've had my off years. My probably 19 to 30 years old. I didn't collect anything. Kept what I had. But man, when I got those first straight arm Joes, I was hooked. And it was a good year that year. My dad was doing well financially that year, so I got every vehicle. I didn't get Scarlet, I didn't get Breaker, I didn't get Flash, but I got everybody else. Of course, no Cobras. And but my dad bought me some Sergeant Rock
Oh
little
yeah.
action figures. Yeah, I got several of those that year as well. So they were the bad guys. I used them to fight my Joes. But I come from the bayou. You'll be able to tell my southern drawl here as I speak. But bayous of Mississippi, and I know what it's like to shrimp and fish and crab and everything else, oysters. So, but I'm an avid Joe guy. Sometimes my collection doesn't reflect my love for it. My collections went from big to small to medium size through the years, but my son's 14, and I'll share this with you. He was about 5 years old, and I had what Joes I had left were in my shed, and so he finds them, he brings them, he's playing with them. I'm like, "Hey, son, where'd you find those?" He found them in a box, and I just got on Instagram. I was new to Instagram, and I didn't know what a hashtag was. I'm always late to the dance. And so I just said, let me try hashtag GI Joe. And when I did, man, that somebody threw gasoline on a fire that was a very small fire. And man, that was, so I started finding pieces to the figures I had, finding the accessories on eBay. I started buying collections, and my son got into it, or I forced him into it. But ever since then, I've enjoyed it. Yes, I believe I overkilled it on him. I believe I was so excited that he was into it that I bought too much stuff for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he drowned in it. Because at that time, that's before Netflix released the toys that made us, and Joe's were still pretty affordable.
Yeah.
I look at prices now compared to what I paid for stuff, and 8, 9 years ago, I'm thinking, wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
I was
I whenever I first started getting back into it, I was at a comic book show, and they had like a booth full of Joes, and I picked up version 3 Snake Eyes and a Flint. I think I paid less than $10 for the Flint, maybe around $10 for the Flint, and like less than 20 for the Snake Eyes. And now you can't touch version 3 Snake Eyes. I mean, or
No.
Flint, version 1 Flint complete. And
I remember I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was just clear.
I remember a few years back, there was a gentleman within an hour of my house who bought collections and sold them. And I bought from him, I bought version A, Steel Brigade complete. Very nice. And Starduster, we went in the first release, but it Starduster complete with the file card. I paid $125 for both of them together.
Wow.
You know, yeah, that was, and yes, because I ended up selling that same Starduster for about $250 a few years later.
Nice.
You know, and of course I just, what's that, Casey?
I said I would have kept the Steel Brigade, but I probably would have moved the Starduster.
Well, I have to confess, I kept Steel Brigade. I moved Starduster. And for some reason, not long ago, I sold Steel Brigade and picked up another Starduster, which I paid $250 for. So, man, look, I was looking at pictures last night of my collection from about 6 years ago, and I almost wanted to fight myself because of what I've gotten rid of, you know.
Yep.
And Night Force, I had the entire Night Force collection.
Oh my God.
That's like
they're gone. Yeah. And they were cheap. They were cheap when I bought them from that same gentleman, you know, but man, I don't know. But I've always funded my hobby with my hobby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My wife's a stay-at-home mom. And so as a pastor, I'm a salary guy, no overtime. So I make sure the bills are paid and the kids are fed. And so I've sold stuff to buy something else and then later regret, oh, why did I do that? You know?
Yeah.
But it's a joy. It's the best hobby out there. G.I. Joe's the best action figure line ever. Yes, I said it and I stand by it.
Yep.
I'm not disagreeing.
No.
Vintage Joes are the best toy line you can collect.
Yeah.
I do have other toy lines I collect, and I have one I'm trying to move right now and I don't sell stuff, but I'm trying to sell off my Star Wars stuff to have some Joefest money. So we'll see how that goes.
I thought he was going to say he was trying to sell your Doctor Who.
Never happened.
Yeah,
I might be the only person I know that collects Doctor Who, but I love it.
I think we've had other people in here collect Doctor Who, but
I don't know.
Well, I've got Marvel Legends, some of the comic book style Legends, Doctor Doom, and I'm a big Captain America fan. Some of the Iron Man. I've got a couple of the Hydra Stompers. I really like that figure for some reason. It's just cool.
Yeah.
I've got some Black Series. I used to have, 4 years ago, I had probably 120 Marvel Legends, probably 60 Black Series. And now I've probably got 10 Marvel Legends and 4 Black Series. I've got some McFarlane Batman, a few of those figures. And I did sell off, Casey. I sold off my Star Wars, my vintage collection, probably pre-COVID. I thought I'd regret it, but I don't regret it,
Yeah.
But the Joes aren't going anywhere.
I still have,
and
I'll probably never get rid of them. My Star Wars from whenever I was a kid. I have a few of them left.
Right.
And I'll never part with them. If I do get new Star Wars, it'll always be from Stan Solo. They do replicas or whatever you want to call it, but they do some amazing work. Yeah,
I've told the
Stan
story
Solo.
before.
Stan Solo. Check them out.
All my childhood. Go ahead.
I'll send you some stuff from him. Some pictures.
Yeah. Sounds good, man.
Go ahead, Casey. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was like, I've told the story before, but all my childhood Star Wars figures were traded for GI Joes early. Once, I mean, when I was a kid, it was Star Wars. And we moved from, it was called Waldron, Indiana, to Columbus, Indiana, and that's when GI Joe hit. And we never had what I would say a lot of money, but my parents always took care of us for Christmas and our birthdays.
Yeah.
Probably,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even come to appreciate it until I had kids, because I just thought
Right.
that's what you're supposed to do. But honestly, they did so much for us. Always made sure we had them. Plus, they hooked Masters of the Universe figures. I love those. So I had a great childhood. But all my Star Wars figures were traded for GI Joes.
Here's what's funny about that, Casey. I didn't have any Star Wars figures, so I traded some of my Joes for some Star Wars figures, and it was about 4 or 5 figures. And I remember I would take like the Snow Trooper, the Imperial Snow Trooper, and he didn't have a cape, and I would make him like a Hiss driver or something, because he would fit into Hiss, or a gunner, And
Yeah.
I probably had less than 10 Star Wars. I did love Transformers, and I meant to tell you guys, man, growing up, I loved Transformers. My dad just went buy them.
They were expensive.
If you got a second, they were expensive. The backstory is, when I was very young, my dad was always a military buff, loved history. He built model tanks and stuff. And so right off the bat, I was, World War II. And I mean, I'm 5 years old, getting books at the library with a lot of pictures in them. And so then I'm playing with a little green plastic army man, which everybody had. And I guess when G.I. Joe was on the shelves, my dad bought them. It was a marriage made in heaven, dude.
Yeah.
So with the other brands, Star Wars, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to think we're so backwoods, we're crazy, but I didn't see Star Wars until it came on network television. What, the mid '80s?
Yeah.
It's the first time I ever saw Star Wars. I was like, this is awesome,
I did,
And, I just and Transformers. I had a few Transformers. My dad did buy me one. It was Ironhide. And I've got some Transformers by trading toys. I loved Transformers. Yeah. What ruined it for me is I went to the theaters and watched Transformers the movie, and they killed Brawn, they killed Ironhide, they killed Ratchet, they killed Prowl, and then they killed Optimus. And I never picked up on the following seasons. I never watched another cartoon after that. I was done, dude. I was devastated.
Brawn was one of my favorites.
Mine too. Tough guys,
I was more mad when they killed Brawn than Optimus. I was just like, seriously? But yeah, no, I get that 100%.
What never made sense to me is whenever we tried to bring Optimus back in the cartoons as a bad guy or whatever, and I was like, this is so stupid. And I understand killing him, but I mean, and I'm kind of regretting that they killed him, because they would have killed Duke in G.I. Joe's movie. And if it wasn't,
but don't you love Duke?
Coma.
No.
What's wrong with Duke?
How can you not love
him?
First of all, a code name.
He's got Superman syndrome to me. He is the kid on the playground that you're playing and you're doing something. He's like, I got a shield. You can't do that to me. I'm new to that. And I'm like,
We need
Duke is in the
you need a Duke healing moment. Look, Duke said, "Yeah, what's wrong with Duke?" Oh man,
Duke,
you need a
read the new
retro
comic.
Duke.
well,
Fellas, I've got to catch up. I've heard everybody talking about the new comics, and I'm behind. So I'm about to go to my.
Amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to read them. I'm going to read them.
The Transformers comic is great. The Cobra Commander comic is great. They're actually making me like Cobra Law. I never liked Cobra Law growing up.
Me too.
But
Listen, Casey, I'm with you.
It's making me like Cobra Law. I mean, because to me, in this comic, it fits to where they forced it to try to fit in that movie. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes,
but,
yes.
Yeah, I love it. It's so cool.
I'm gonna check them out. We never had a comic book store growing up. Listen, fellas, and you may can identify with this. Y'all may have been from small towns. Read. I'm going back. I'm reading the Marvel run because I have every Marvel issue on digital format.
Okay.
Because growing up, we didn't have a comic book store. Our little junior food convenience stores had the old wire racks. Remember the wire racks?
Yeah.
Well, you would get a Joe comic like issue 20, and then you may not see another Joe comic at the stores until you saw issue 28. There was no continuity. And so I'm finally going back to read them all the way through. I just started this past week, about 4 days ago. But as far as Cobra La, man, I could not stand Cobra La.
It just fits now. In the Cobra
I'm gonna
Commander
check
series,
it out.
it just fits.
The older I get, the more I'm getting into Cobra Law.
Right.
Because I don't know if you knew much about the Adventure Team stuff from back in the 70s.
I didn't have any, but I know what you're talking about.
They had sets like Danger at the Docks or something like that, or Attack on some mountain or whatever. And that's how I'm seeing Cobra Law now. Is in like whenever they did like the Pyramid of Darkness, that is a throwback to me to Adventure Team, because they'd have different groups breaking down and going different places. Adventure Team would have different sets for different places. I mean, my crazy hillbilly times.
No,
going
man, that's well. I think for me, I loved Cobra Commander, and I loved him. The cartoon Sunbow was comical.
Yes.
Even as a young, the way he had that high pitched voice. Was it Chris Lott, I believe?
Yes.
And always retreat, but that was not my Cobra Commander I played with. Mine was tough. No, he was a tough guy. And whenever they made him into a snake, my young mind was like, that ain't gonna work here. This is not Cobra Commander. And I think that was the main thing. I could have handled Cobra Law had Cobra Commander not been a snake person from the heart of the earth. That kind of just shattered my world, because I just had a hard time with it. But I'm like like you say, Casey. Now and at that age, I was not really a lot of fantasy kind of stuff. Like right now, I'm a huge last 15, 20 years. I've become a huge Lord of the Rings guy. Narnia. But I'm gonna pick those comics up and read them. I'm just I've heard everybody talking about them. I definitely want to check them out. The last Transformer comic I read was Last Stand of the Wreckers, and that's been quite a few years ago.
I've not read that. I watched a video from Toy Connections where they were talking about that, and that made me go back and pick up some Transformer comics. And I could not be happier with how the Transformer comics is going in Skybound. Except for they just killed one of my favorites.
Oh no. Who was it?
Yeah.
You've got to
I don't
tell
want
me.
to say spoiler wise. I'll tell you after the show.
Okay, yeah. I've got to know now. But
But it
that's
hurt me.
well, again, that's what devastated me as a child when they killed Optimus and Brawn and Ironhide and I never recovered. I didn't. I was like, I'm done. It's over. It's over, Prime. It's by the way, fellas, I've not seen a better fight scene in any movie with the dialogue and back and forth as it was between Optimus and Megatron in that battle.
Yeah.
That was one of the best fight scenes of all time. One shall stand, one shall fall. I mean, this was some good stuff, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Whenever I watched that cartoon first time, I didn't see it in the theater. We actually broke down and rented the VCR movie. We rented a VCR, and that was whenever but if you had a VCR in your house, you was considered rich.
Right.
Here. And
Yeah.
so we stopped. We had a little movie rental place in Spencer, and we stopped one night and rented a VCR. And then my dad's like, each of us gets to pick one movie, and I picked Transformers the movie, and I went home and watched it. And whenever these first started dropping the cuss words in the beginning of it,
Yeah.
I was like, nope, done.
Good.
My Transformers.
Can't watch anything nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, but this was like little hillbilly was just like stunned.
That was another
Thanks
thing
for
that
stopping
stunned
by,
me.
Larry.
Larry, good to see you, buddy. Or hear from you, rather. Yeah, that was actually my first trip to the movie theaters. I'd never been to a theater, and one of my best friends' mom took us, so I get my first experience at a theater. I hear language in a Transformer cartoon, and then all my favorite ones get killed. I'm like, worst day ever, But
it's funny how we always remember our first movie. The first movie I ever went to go see, my parents took me to see Blazing Saddles.
Oh.
I don't think I'll ever forget that.
You were scarred, weren't you?
I was just like, oh my goodness.
Blazing Saddles, huh?
If they could not do that movie now.
No.
No.
But
I was going to tell you. I'm sorry, go fellas. I apologize.
We were just going on about Blazing Saddles. Go ahead.
I was going to throw one more thing at you about the Transformers movie that I didn't catch till of course, I own a copy now and I'll watch it about once a year. But whenever Hot Rod and Cup are on the planet with the little spinning heads, what are those called? Yeah. The Sharkticons are there. They're underwater, remember? And they're talking fine or breathing fine. And then all of a sudden, he's fighting Galvatron, right? Mm-hmm. And Galvatron's choking him to death. And I realized, wait a second, he could breathe underwater, but now he can't breathe because Galvatron's choking him. I'm like, I didn't see all that when I was a child. That bothers me now. Man, my mind, dude.
That's funny. I never noticed that. That's been, I guess whenever they killed Prime and everything, I just like, I started tuning out. I was like, done.
It was tough. And like you said, Eric, had they not gotten such a backlash from killing Prime, I know you guys have seen this, but they were going to kill off Duke.
Yeah.
And stinking Flint would have been
No, they would have done Falcon. Falcon would have been
Falcon was going to step up.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, he is a lieutenant, so that would kind of fall in there. But
Duke's a sergeant.
Yeah, he's first sergeant.
Yeah.
It was always Hawk for me.
Yeah.
he stayed because my 82 Joes were still around in the early 90s. They just didn't have any thumbs.
Yeah.
So,
Well, for me,
So,
my leader was always Flint because I never had a Hawk, never had Duke.
right.
So when I got Flint, I was like, I first seen him on the shelf. I was like, what is this? And I picked him up and I was like, I went to my mom. I was like, please let me get this. And she's like, okay. So X department store, 1985, I guess. I can't remember what year Flint came out, 84 or 85. But I get him home, get him out of the package, and I'm like, why does his head go up and down?
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is actually kind of cool. And then I'm reading his card and it said warrant officer. So I was like, he's a bounty hunter. I didn't know what a warrant officer was. I didn't know it was a rank.
I didn't either.
I just thought he's a bounty hunter. He's hunting Joes that went AWOL.
No Joe would go AWOL.
Duke.
I loved Flint as a kid. My biggest, and I don't know if this is just from growing up carrying a shotgun in the woods all the time or not, Eric. But I was like, why do they give him a shotgun? And it just drive me nuts. Same thing with Falcon. I'm thinking, now if anybody needed a sawed-off shotgun, it should have been Tunnel Rat. They
give him a big old
with a giant scope on it.
Yeah.
But I did. There wasn't a Joe I didn't like. To have any of them, I was happy. And there's, the thing I did hate is I had all my Arctic Joes, and we never got above or below 60 degrees hardly.
I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah. Listen, brother, the last time we had snow that stuck on the ground in my area was 1993. Yeah. I've never, was able to play with the snowcat or snowmobile or I had the Cobra Wolf. But I really enjoyed all the Joes. And then there was some that were kind of my favorite when I was young, when I got them, like Fast Draw. I'm thinking, dude, he is so cool when I was a kid.
Fast Draw. Yeah.
He was. And I don't know if it was because of my dad and the love of World War II history or military history, but I couldn't stand when everything was laser. I'd have to his don't have laser cannons. It's got 75 millimeter, self-loading armor piercing rounds. And now Flash, I was good with Flash and sci-fi as laser guys, but Fast Draw was just, to me, and I would always put Fast Draw. You guys remember the mobile battle bunker that would open up, had the 5 missiles inside of it. It was later. I actually have my childhood one.
Nice.
I would always let Fast Draw sit there because I'm thinking, if anybody sits here and those missiles take off, it's going to fry them. So Fast Draw had to sit beside that. That was just the way my brain was thinking.
Yep.
If there was one Joe vehicle I hated, and you guys don't hate me for this, it was probably and I owned it. It was probably the Triple T. Like, here I am, come get me. Thinking, man.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
neither did the Buzzboard.
I don't need it to make sense.
Buzzboard. Right.
Awesome.
I actually enjoyed the Pogo. Remember the Pogo?
I love the Pogo. Yes.
I thought it was a cool vehicle. Everybody made fun of it. I was like, no, man, the Pogo is cool. If you'll notice something, a lot of the vehicles that here's going to be a tale, so nobody think I'm crazy, but
that's too late.
A lot of exactly. A lot of my favorite vehicles I picked up, and if you do the math on the years, I was in high school. So, me and Anthony at Fantastic Toy Robot, I remember as a senior going to the Joe aisle every time I went to Walmart to see what new figures were out. The last figure I bought was the Cobra Commander with a little orange visor. You could actually see through some of them had the eyebrows.
Yeah.
That was the last figure I bought before I didn't buy any after that one. Man,
I think my
at the
last one
magnet.
was
Maggot
crystal ball.
is the best Cobra. Vehicle.
Yes. And see, maggot would have came out when I was probably, I'm gonna say 8th or 9th grade. I still have my original maggot. It's kind of got some.
A couple years ago, but yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
I have to
crystal ball. I'm sorry.
Since you have your maggot, I'll have to send you some ivermectin.
Yes. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Since you got worms.
Oh, I do have worms with an antenna.
I don't
know.
Neighbor kid.
Yeah, I have an antenna.
Well, I picked the worms up with the antenna from the gentleman that I bought the Night Force from and the Steel Brigade and from as well. So I got him very cheap. I didn't realize how much worm with an antenna goes for now. I'm like, wow.
Crazy, yeah.
You know. But I thought Worms' uniform and helmet all was just so cool.
Yeah.
He was just a great figure. But Eric, I never had crystal ball.
5
you do?
With my maggot.
Oh wow.
It's just like made like a whole team for it.
So a few years ago, the people lived beside us. Their kids run over one day and they said, "Hey, we was playing in the creek after church and we found a toy." They knew I kind of collected toys. I was more into comic books at the time. And they said, "We wanted to give it to you." And they hand me this old G.I. Joe figure that they found in the creek. And I'm like, I've never seen this. So I get on the Google machine and I Google G.I. Joe action figures. I'm going through the pictures, the images. It was a worm.
Okay.
He didn't have the helmet. I had to dig mud out of the screw hole and out of the peg holes on his feet. And I cleaned him up, but that's how I got my one and only worm.
Oh. Did you ever get you a helmet?
No, I will eventually, but I'm not really worried about it because he's special because these kids seen it.
Right,
and
right.
Like, hey, let's give it there. And so
yeah, that's and if that worms could talk, he's got a story to tell.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's been
right.
underwater.
Morning, right. Aaron. I'm glad you're here.
Morning. But
I when I first got back into collecting, I bought a Major Blood online, eBay, and the guy was local. I saw he was Mobile, so I messaged him about picking it up. Well, I get home from church on a Sunday night, and he's left me a voicemail on my house phone. He's looked up my name and found me locally and called. And he said, "James, I have a large collection. I hadn't even listed yet. Would you like to see it?" I'm thinking, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I go meet him. This guy, basically, the story is he had 2 sons that collected G.I. Joe with my age. They were grown, had their own children. And so he got their toys out. These kids had never taken their Joes outside, right? Never played with them outdoors. In that collection, and I'm just going to throw this at you, man. I got the Rattler, I got the Sky Striker, I got the Mobad, I got the Ferret, Flak, Hal, Vamp, all this original. And I mean, I got the Cobra Claw, the Cobra Snake robot. I'm not even scratching the surface shit. I got all them. They never like been played with the drivers and all. I got all that for $400. And it was I was, of course, then I thought that was a lot of money because I just got, this is pre-Netflix,
Right.
toys that made us. And so, man, I scored big time there. And I'd love to find collections like that again.
Yeah.
The price on them. But what I was getting at, those boys never took those toys outside. And nothing against that, but you'd probably found some of mine in the bayou. Not that I was careless with them,
Right.
because they meant a lot to me. I didn't, as you guys mentioned, Casey, you mentioned earlier. Dad got them for me at Christmas and birthday. I remember one birthday, he didn't have a lot of money, so he got me one comic book, and it was the classic G.I. Joe. I forget which issue it is, but it's rock and roll holding a big 50 firing it. And that meant so much to me, man. I had to go back and find a copy of that comic to have, just because that moment, that was the only thing I got. That in a magazine, I got a Wings aircraft magazine, but I love that comic. But those Joes meant so much. They were my escape. They were my heroes growing up. We grew up in the Cold War. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Most of us were very, very patriotic. G.I. Joe fed into that. And even Transformers, man, Optimus, he's one of the all-time heroes in just the way they've done his character. And of course, Peter Cullen's voice, but yeah, Joes were a big part of I've got a gentleman that's I've told you is local here, is going to go to Joefest with me. We're going together. He actually joined and served 4 years with 82nd Airborne because of what G.I. Joe meant to him.
Cool.
And Joe had and you don't see that today. You don't. Who do you sit the toy aisle? With us.
Yeah.
And
seldom you see you.
I'm telling you, man, and there'll never be another toy line like G.I. Joe. This is not to beat a dead horse, but I mean the play sets, the vehicles, just the posability of the figures. The 700 something figures, so I believe. The mailing. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. When my dad bought me those first year Joes, he ordered me 7 Cobra Commanders. So I got 7 Cobra Commanders in the mail because they're 50 cents or something.
Something like
flag
that.
points. And so I had an army that was my Sergeant Rock went to the side. That became my army of bad guys. And I don't remember if they were Mickey Mouse. I didn't know all that. Pay attention. I mean, I'm 8, 9 years old,
Just
but they'll never be. Yes. Let me play with Joe's. I was good. Here's what's crazy. I didn't mention this. Rock and Roll has actually had a broke rubber band in the package in '82. So he comes out of the package with a broke O-ring, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know how to fix him. I tried to glue him back together. So I never really got to play with Rock and Roll much outside of his torso.
Yeah.
I had no idea you could take a screw off and but man, great memories. Those were some.
I've got a similar memory with my Snake Eyes. I got version 1 Snake Eyes in '82, 7-year-old. His arms didn't have that swivel arm battle grip. He was straight on.
Right.
Well, my brother made him have a swivel arm. Snapped his arm off.
Oh no.
My brother's older than me and quite a bit bigger than me. So I was distraught. Never did see another Snake Eyes. Couldn't afford to get another Snake Eyes. So '83 rolls around. I see Snake Eyes on the peg again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm finally getting another Snake Eyes. So I got Snake Eyes. I loved it and I just played with it. And he gives him a swivel knee battle grip. Broke his knee off. I was like, I'm looking up at him like, I'm going to tear into you like a spider monkey all hopped up on Mountain Dew and hate. And he took the screw out. He figured out to take the screw out, and he took the pieces. So the Snake Eyes I have today is my childhood one. He's the only childhood Joe I got.
Awesome.
And weight from the waist up, he's version 2. From the waist down, he's version 1.
So he's got the big crotch.
Yeah. Which I don't care. Actually,
Yeah, no, man, I love him.
Larry offered to send me the right waist piece for him to make him a full one version 1.5. I'm like, no, I want to keep him
That's right.
the way I had him. But
Yeah.
I guess probably ought to, because if something ever happens to me, Shannon, my wife, could like make some money off that fella. He's not
Right. Yeah,
he's
that's a
complete. I mean, I don't have his gun or his munitions bag, but he's got quick kicks
well,
backpack.
I several of my 82s and 83s of the OG-13, several of them I have accessory pack weapons on them, and I wasn't that keen at the time of getting the originals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Accessory packs look good. They were just a lighter gray.
Yeah.
So to me, they're complete. Now, when it came out later with accessory packs, I think the second or third year they started putting like red guns for Cobra and light blue guns, and that kind of got on my nerves. But the early ones didn't. But I had two brothers. I'm the oldest, the smartest, strongest. I'm just kidding. But I am the oldest, and when you brought that up about your brother, when my youngest brother, I was born in 74, he's born in 78, he started liking G.I. Joe about the time I'm in middle school, which in Mississippi, we called it junior high, and it went from 7th to 9th grade. High school went from 10th to 12th. Now high school's 9th to 12th. Well, at 15 years old in Mississippi, you could get your driver's license and start working a legal job or job legally, which I did. Coming from the financial background that I had, my dad and all, who worked hard, just didn't make a lot of money. I gave up all my sports. I was a baseball player, and so I could make money. So I started buying my brother G.I. Joes for his birthday, for Christmas, knowing the whole time they were for me, So I bought him one Christmas. I bought him the Hammerhead. Remember the Hammerhead? The big Cobra vehicle, and I bought him all the Eco Warriors, for Christmas. And I'm going to be honest with you. You could find me if I was off on a Saturday. You may have found me at 15, 16 years old out in the woods with some Joes. You know what I'm saying? That was just who I was, man. But again, you didn't have the ability just to run the roads. You didn't have, satellite television, internet. I didn't have a gaming system. So it was outdoors, and so we guys, we were older. And we still, and I don't want to take up all the time, but if you'll let me tell one more story, I will here.
Go ahead.
You're fine.
Me and Fantastic Toy Robot. I'm gonna call him Anthony because that's what I grew up. We've been best. Let me tell you that. I'm on the school bus. I'd been in this area long. I've been in the area, but we had just moved to a new location on the bayou, and so our school bus route goes by his house. So I'm in this window looking out the window, and I see this kid waiting for his bus, but he's playing with a dragonfly. Right? I'm like, holy cow, it's a dragonfly. So I find him at school. He's 7. His birthday was April 17th. He's 7 months to the day older than me. I'm November 17th. So he's a grade ahead of me because I fall later in the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I find him, man, and we become friends. And I was 2nd grade, 3rd grade. He may have been 4th, and we've been best friends ever since. We talk all the time. It's just my lifelong best friend. It's a huge blessing. The Lord gave me a great best. Me and him were about probably 18, 19. We had went to a flea market in Mobile, and a guy was selling G.I. Joes. And he looked at me, and I looked at him. I said, "You thinking what I'm thinking?" Or he may have said that to me. I said, "I think so." So we went to his house, and he lived in a nice home on stilts. We lived in a mobile home. and we dug out all of our GI Joe and went and had one last big battle. We was about 19 maybe years old, maybe been 20. Yeah, dude, we had a huge battle, man, in a dirt pit. Dirt pit. So all the landscape was perfect. And we hello?
Sorry.
No, you're good. So we came back to his house and we put a lot of the Joes. His dad had a big deep freezer that was not working. So we put a lot of the Joes in it, the vehicles and all down in it, some in the attic. And then not long after that, a hurricane came through and washed all that away. We lost a lot of it, but that was a cool memory. And I'm thinking, man, here we are grown men out here. But it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. And I was talking about Motu earlier. I never had any, and none of my buddies had any that I remember. Anthony may have had a couple, but I didn't. I thought they were cool, Of course, the cartoon was out, but me and that fella, Fantastic Toy Robot, we have had a lot of GI Joe adventures. You hear me? A ton of them. And a matter of fact, let me grab something here. I know I posted it, but you saw the what he just sent me in the mail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big man, then the tunnel rat. I mean, he just says, "Hey, I'm gonna send those to you. You don't owe me anything." And I said, "Well, I want to give you something for them." And so here we are. He just turned 50. I'll be 50 November 17th, and we're still doing GI Joe together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've got a package going out to Eric pretty soon of something I heard him say once, and I won't tell him what it is. But it is GI Joe.
Oh, cool, man! I'm going to put you guys on the mailing address here. Do y'all pre-order your figures a lot? Classified?
I have slowed down doing that because I just got hit with the vamp and all that at one time, and I'm trying to be a little pickier about what I buy because I collect more than Joe.
Right.
I think out of the last 10 or 12 figures that went up for pre-order, I only ordered the Beachhead because I love that classic look for Beachhead.
Yes.
That's the only one I pre-ordered. I do have a ton of Motu on pre-order, but it's I love both toy lines. Just right now, I've got like 100 or so classifieds, and maybe I'm just getting burnt out a little bit. And I'm sure I'll get back into it eventually.
Sure.
But like right now, the Motu is what's making me happy. And what I tell people, if a toy, we're adults. If a toy doesn't make you happy, don't buy it.
Yep.
Or, maybe I didn't pre-order, but when I see it, I'm going to want it. And I'll just buy it.
There you go.
But as of right now, I just have one pre-ordered, and I'm okay with that.
Like for me, I like finding it on the shelf. And if, like our Walmart, they've had the same Joes on the shelf for just about all this year.
Right.
Since Rock and Roll and
Shipwreck
came out, and then Baroness, Lady J, and Destro on the retro cards.
Yes, they are peg warmers here, man. Yeah.
And I've never seen.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The last new ones I seen was Snake Eyes with the White Timber, Croc Master, and then Spirit. We had it, and I'll take it back. Scrap Iron.
Oh,
yeah,
great figure.
But I can't afford to keep popping on that stuff. But also, if I'm going to buy something I like, I'm not going to spend my money on something that I'm like, I want like Valverse, man. I love Valverse. Can't afford it though. I mean, not bashing them, not
Nope.
bashing Hasbro or GI Joe, but I get so much enjoyment out of the little things. Like yesterday, in the mail, I got this guy. He is sci-fi version 2 from Fun School.
Yeah, I was going to say. Oh,
Um,
wow.
Yeah, Frank and Joe Customs sent him to me from all the way
Cool,
from
man.
India. So he sent me Windmill on card from Fun School, and I can't. He's like, can't wait to see what you take pictures of him with, and I'm like, I can't take him off the card because something like that is huge for me.
Yeah,
It
right.
means a lot. So I'll stick with these little guys. I mean, plus the 6-inch figures take up so much room.
Right. Yeah. Well,
I say that.
I want to be where Casey's at, and I know you've mentioned it, Eric, that you have a room for your collection. Right now, as you can see, this is my office. I've got which way am I looking here? I've got 2 shelves behind me with Joe's on it. Most of mine's in totes, so every time I open totes, that's when I try to take pictures outside. But we're about to switch rooms out with my oldest daughter moved out. It's the only reason I got this room. And so eventually I'm gonna switch rooms with my youngest daughter's got a room but doesn't have closets in it. So the closets take up a lot of space in this one. So once I get over there, I'll have a lot more room to throw some shelves up, and I'm gonna um, display a lot more of my Joes. Now, you guys have probably seen my collection of 1/18th military stuff. I post a lot of it, and it's huge. That's where a lot of my collection went as well, because I do like to sometimes throwing those vehicles in with my Joes.
Yeah,
They're cool, and they're awesome pieces, man. And they're really. And I picked up that big lot here recently and flipped it and kept what I wanted, but I didn't have it ordered. I was trying to stay away from classified. Not that I didn't like them. It's just I knew, well, Lord have mercy, where I'm going to put them and how much it's going to cost. But a fantastic toy robot sent me Shipwreck and Torpedo for my birthday last year. I wanted Spirit. I held Spirit in my hands 20 times at Walmart. Put him back. Yep. I decided to go back and get him. I made up my mind he was gone. All of them were gone. So that's why I'm just now getting Spirit. I picked up the Snake Eyes with Timber at Ross the other day for $11, $12. Yeah. But I'm actually trading him to the other gentleman here locally for, he's got a rock and roll that I went back to get, and all the rock and rolls are gone. Yeah. There is one retro guy that I want to get. I've left Destro hanging on the pegs. I've left Lady J and Baroness. But the Gung Ho, I'm thinking about going back getting that retro Gung Ho. I like the way it looks.
Way better than the first classified they put out.
Yes. Yeah. I've got the first one, but my buddy kind of what he done the customizing on him. Yeah. And it looks a lot better. He put a different hat on him. He put some vest and ammo clips or pouches all around him. He gave him different guns and kind of painted him up. He looks great, but I still like the retro looking one. Now, you guys, I know I've posted him before, but Anthony did this. This is that he done this, and man, it's probably several years ago for me. Yeah, that is all kind of. I mean, he's got him.
Oh yeah,
that's the silent interlude Snake Eyes. Yeah. And man, I that forever, that'll be my favorite Snake Eyes forever. And I love him, man. And so, but I haven't pre-ordered any. I'm really going to get Airborne. I loved Airborne as a kid. I thought he was one of the coolest figures ever. He didn't get a lot of love, but but I'm definitely fixing to pull the trigger on Airborne. And I like the 60th anniversary Action Soldier. I think the main reason I like him is because I like the Maudus, the big 50 caliber he has.
Yeah,
You know, a trifle. But they're
that would
now.
be,
Let me ask you something. Go ahead.
that'd be good for roadblock.
Yes. Do y'all have any of the gridiron stuff for your figures?
Love
I do.
gridiron. Yes, I
I
have.
love their stuff. I don't. I think I own. No, my buddy bought me the 118th howitzer. They did the big
Okay.
105 millimeter howitzer for one. He bought me that for Christmas. I love it, but I want the stalker loadout, the lerp with
I got
I
that.
want that
Yeah,
one. Do you? Oh man, that is so cool.
it
And I
is.
want the breaker loadout. I call
I
it the
don't have
breaker
that
loadout.
one.
It's called.
Yeah.
It's cool. But I
I need
want to get the Modus for Roblox, the one they did for Roblox, the big retro looking one.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so cool.
I got one at Joefest from Mark II Designs probably 3 years ago, and it's perfect for. I mean, I was able to take that Nerf looking gun off a Roblox and put that in his hands, and it just made that figure so much better.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got that roadblock. I just don't. I've got his. I'm sorry. I have the second roadblock that come out with the Gatlin. Kind of got that
Okay, the
retro
Amazon
uniform.
exclusive. Yeah,
Yes, that's the roadblock I have, and
yeah. I
I
still
like the
like the
Gatlin.
Maldives better.
I do too. I want a
Yeah.
Modus for him, absolutely.
But the Gatling gun is better than the big Nerf gun.
Yeah.
So
Big giant Nerf stun guns would look like. Anyway, go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry, buddy.
You're fine. I got some hard questions for you here.
All righty.
57 minutes and questions are going to start flying like
Uh-oh.
flies.
Nobody asked the hard-hitting questions like podcasts from the pit.
Yes.
Oh boy.
How many rivets does the USS flag have in the toy?
All of them.
Uh,
Everyone is supposed to.
how many miles per gallon does the Havoc get?
Probably
Well, in my world, it didn't even run on gas. It was endless.
Nuclear powered.
Yeah.
The Havoc was always like my favorite vehicle, one of my two favorite vehicles, because that's the biggest vehicle I ever had growing up. And then my brother had the Mobat, and then I had the Dragonfly. And I love the Dragonfly. Passed up the well for
I
the
do too.
Dragonfly. If I could go back, I'd smack myself in the back of the head so hard. Be like, get the well, stupid.
the well's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite vehicle I ever got for Christmas was the whale. And it's probably the largest vehicle I did have. Gallons per mile. As a matter of fact,
This is true.
the gentleman that I bought the figures for a great price, he no longer sells. He moved actually to Ohio, but I bought a complete well from him. Probably, I guess it's been 6-8 years ago for $75 complete.
Wow.
Yes, and it's $400 now. The last I've seen them at that kind of. So it's one of the prize ones in my collection. The well, I never had a flag. I never had a terror drone. And be honest with you, growing up in a mobile home, we couldn't have put a flag nowhere in that place.
Honestly, it's really inconvenient. I'm actually getting ready to have to take mine down and
He said
put it in the
he's
closet
gonna
for a
let
little
me-
bit.
He said he's going to let me store it for him.
Oh,
I need a better way to display it because I love it.
You could do like Joburg and make it floatable and dig you a pond out in your backyard and let it float around in your pond.
I'm thinking about. I think Scuba Pete's got some plans that he's going to send me to.
Okay.
It's going to be on like a table with wheels so I can roll it in and out. And
yes,
that'd be good.
that's the way to go with it. I think. Like right now, I can't get to the Joes on the wall because I had to have a 4-foot wide board for my flag.
Yeah,
I know that sounds like a problem, but
that's a third world problem, Eric.
yeah. It's just funny because the Terradrome looks so small now next to that.
Oh, I imagine. I always wanted those as a kid, even as an adult. I just never, back when I first started collecting again, you could have got a complete flag for like $700. Which I knew another buddy here in Mobile was selling his for that. I say complete. It may have been missing a couple of pieces, but man, I didn't pull a trigger on one. But have you guys follow Michael Mercy?
Yeah,
I've watched a bunch of his videos.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the way he's got the flag set up on a table. It's like he puts the well underneath it and stuff. It's really cool the way he built that, man. And I don't know if it rolls, but I like his videos. But the Defiant complex was awesome, but I never came close. And that thing's expensive.
Yeah,
it's awesome. I mean, if I had endless funds, yes, I would get one.
Sure. Same here.
As far as like my idea of something like what we call grail items, flag was up there, Terradrome was up there. I've got those. I cannot do a Defiant. I'm happy for those who can.
Are they more than they cost more than a flag?
I don't think so. I don't know. I got a really great deal on my flag. It's not 100% complete, but it's complete enough for me.
Sure.
And I've got a really great deal on it, or else I wouldn't have
one. Well, I love the I try to get stuff complete figure wise, but at the end of the day, gentlemen, I'm not collecting this to get rich at the end of my life.
Right.
Because most likely we're the guys that's going to keep it going right now. So when we're older and whatever, who's going to want this? This is a hobby that I enjoy to just have a break from the everyday grind of life. I'm a pastor. You guys know that, so I deal with a lot of issues, a lot of funeral. I had 3 funerals this past couple of weeks. So a lot of this for me is just an enjoyment that I have. It's a hobby I enjoy. My body don't allow me to play sports like it once did. Up until I have to tell you, up until probably 2019, the year before COVID, I was still playing full contact football in my 40s. And I was active in basketball and I was active in softball. I can't throw a ball anymore 10 feet. My shoulders is shot. It's gone. So I'm not as active in those aspects, but my hobbies and G.I. Joe is just a great escape. It's from the harsh realities of life, and I enjoy it. I enjoy what I'm doing now with you guys. I mean, it's just a camaraderie that's it's just so cool to be a part of a community, rather. And I have some grails, and this may sound crazy because the 3 grails on my Joe list. And Eric, if you see them, pick them up for me.
All right.
But the 3 grails are the 82 or 83, I think came out late 82, cardboard missile command HQ Cobra set. People's like, cardboard is your grail? Yes. Cardboard, because it will complete my 82, 83.
Yeah.
And then the 2 styrofoam gliders, the Falcon glider and the Viper glider. And when I say grills, I don't even care if if I just got maybe the main piece of the cardboard with the rocket on it, the missile.
Yeah.
That would be because what I want to do with those 3 pieces is put them flat in like a shadow box to hang them on the wall. But those are 3, and I've got there's a Falcon glider I'm watching on eBay. The guy offered it to me for $185, and it's basically all there, even with a very nice grunt, which I have the grunt, but. Those are 3 pieces that I really want because they will really complete my 82, 83, which for me, that was my favorite years. Was it 82 through 84? I love all the years, but those, I don't know why those were my favorite. Of course, there's figures out of every year I love, but I'm sorry, Eric, you were asking me questions and I pulled a red herring out there to get you off the path.
You're fine.
But fire away, my friend. I'm going to try to see what I can answer.
You actually hit one of my questions. What are you going to be looking for at Joefest?
I'm going there hopefully to have some good amount of money. Hopefully, that's make sure my wife's not listening.
Yeah.
So there's not really anything that I'm looking for per se, unless I come across a glider or something that I can get decent price. But I do plan on if I just can load up on a bunch of figures I don't have,
Right.
because I've gotten rid of. I'm down to about 150 figures in my O-rings, where a few years ago I was probably 300 plus. So I'm wanting to build back up some of the guys. I do want another flak. I do want another Hal. I do want another MMS, and those aren't real expensive.
Right.
I want to look for some. If it's just a shell, I ain't worried about it working or anything. But I like to find another couple of Mobats because I want to do some customs again, repaints, and I do want to get me again, if it's just the shell, doesn't have to have the tow cable, the antennas, or anything, but another mauler, because I want to repaint a mauler to like an olive green style. Just stuff like that. I'm not sure if I really have a grill I'm after, because I kind of already presuppose that the three I really want will probably be out of my price range wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe the Lord will say, "This is your moment," And
Yeah. So, did you all see? Not change subject, but Ramen Toys dropped images of a 1/6 scale Wolverine.
No, I did not.
Yes, looks amazing. It looks like they took the toy and just loaded up to 1/6 scale.
You talking about for 12-inch figures?
Or 112.
I think he means 112.
Yeah,
or
sorry.
6 inch.
Okay, 6-inch figure. Okay, because I do have some 1/6 scale figures as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool though. Yeah, no, I don't. Anthony has sent me some stuff. I don't remember who makes them, but there's a guy printing a lot of vehicles. I did see a Wolverine, and when you said Wolverine at first, Eric, I went to X-Men for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, and the guy done like a bridge layer.
Yeah.
Oh man, that stuff it's neat, man.
Isn't it all the same tank body, but you can change out? So you have a bridge layer, a Mobat, Wolverine. I mean, it's a great idea. It's Ramen Toys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so. Yes. Yeah. Those are cool.
My next question is, who was your very first Joe?
In '82, when I was opening presents and ripping the wrapping paper off, and here's a Mobat, and, here's a flak, and here's a Ram, and I got all the Joe vehicles, which was 6 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've got almost all the figures, so I can't say who was my first one. I got them all at one time.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And I don't remember which one I opened for. Here's what's crazy, man. I was telling my wife this yesterday. We was having this conversation because, whether she likes it or not, she has these conversations with me. And she acts interested. She acts like she's paying attention. But I was like, I Googled this. I went to his tank, and I think it sent me their link but somebody asked the question, what month of '82 did the Joe start showing up on the shelf? And some were saying May. They got some in May of '82. Here's what's crazy, to show you how much we didn't get out much back then, or how often we didn't get out. I didn't even know what G.I. Joe was till Christmas of '82. I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
So I must not have been into it. We didn't have a Walmart, of course. We had Kmart, we had TG&Y, Ecker Drugs. So I didn't even know it. So I get inundated with all these figures and vehicles at one moment at Christmas, which was the best Christmas ever. So anyway, I don't know. And people ask all the time, who's your favorite Joe? I'm like, oof, wow.
That was my
I
next
don't know.
question.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I put on. Somebody asked that question on one of the Facebook groups the other day, and they asked who's your favorite OG-13, and I just said all of them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I love them, man. I loved, to me, rock and roll with the ammo belts and the
yeah,
bipod was for a kid was so cool. Then there was something about the pop of the orange pads, of
yeah,
Grand Slam and Flash, and then Snake Eyes. Who didn't like Snake Eyes? And then Breaker with his headset, and then I don't know what it was, but those little clear visors that came down,
yeah,
Yeah.
they just were so stinking cool, man.
Right. Yeah.
And the military feel of them, I loved. And then '83, the Whirlwind, the APC, which was
yeah,
I got that for Christmas. The Dragonfly. I mean, it's a Cobra gunship. You know, uh, man, you make it hear excitement in my voice all these years later. I love that stuff. It was so cool. So my favorite Joe, I'll tell you this, Eric. As time went on, there were guys like Fast Draw, the way he looked. I
yeah,
mean, who doesn't like a hose and a mask with two big missiles? Like, go ahead and make my
yeah,
day. You know, and then you had Hit and Run. I mean, fully camo out. Um, you had Rock and Roll, the second one, which I kind of didn't like. 4 Gatling guns with one guy holding with 2 hands, but
yeah,
the uniform.
Was
And I
cool.
think that, if I'm not mistaken, that kind of came out about the time Predator did, after Predator, because
yeah.
Ventura had that minigun. And also, I think you get Rock and Roll. Um, but all those guys, man, Ripcord, I loved
Oh,
Ripcord.
yeah,
Airborne, I loved Airborne. Gung Ho, and it's simplistic. Hey, look at my chest, with a big old grenade launcher. I mean, where do I stop?
Yeah.
Where do I stop with who's my and then Cobra? You may think I'm crazy, but man, I love the vintage Cobra Officer, Cobra Soldier, and
yeah,
and Cobra Commander, man, and but to me, one of the coolest Cobras, and I have several of them, but there was nothing like the Vamp. I mean, the his driver, that
yeah.
red with that blue and that silver, and I was like, I love them all. I don't know who my favorite is. I mean, that's such a cop out, isn't it? You know,
That's
uh,
super cool, Rachel.
but
Yeah, Rachel, that's still my favorite figure,
yes,
even now.
let me tell you guys about that. My dad in '83, I open this box up, and it's like I think it's a Lipton tea box, like iced tea.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what is in this, Dad? And he would do stuff like this. So I open it up and I pull out these carded figures, and there's Snow Job, there's Torpedo, there's a Doc, there's Airborne, there's Gunk Ho. So I've got all those guys in one box together. I think I got Destro that year as well. So I didn't have Major Blood. And I'll tell you another guy that was one of my favorites, Cobra, was Scrap Iron with that missile launcher. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
taking the Mobat out with this.
yeah,
Uh, I remember my dad would play with me on the floor. Um, and great memories. And I remember he was driving the Mobat, and I fired at it with Zap or something with a bazooka, because I didn't have. And my dad's like, "Oh, they're hitting." He's got these guys. He'll keep pulling the same sealer out of the little where he's, they're all crawling out of the tank. It's like realism. Yes, I remember that, man. I was 8 years old. 8 or 9, but those were great times, and I got the Whirlwind that year. But Eric, I don't know, man. There was so many great Joes that I just, to me, one of my favorite Joes that came out later was Stalker with the little kayak.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, dude, that was a cool set, and I love Stalker. I love
yeah.
Stalker, the first one, and I don't know, man. If
Larry,
you make me pick a Joe, that's going to hurt me.
Right.
Larry blowed my mind here for my birthday. He sent me a package, which, my birthday, I look at it as just another day. Nothing special. I mean, I don't like people making a big deal about it. It embarrasses me, actually. So I get this
Not me.
box.
I love it.
I get this box, and I open it up, and there's pieces of figures in it, and like accessories and stuff I was needing to. Like I did a Snake Eyes custom where he's battle damaged, and I was like, I need a gun for him, and he sent me a gun, and it's the version 3 gun, but still, it's a cool gun. And then I pull out 2 wrapped up figures in bubble wrap. I'm like, what's this? And I start unwrapping them, and an eel falls out of it.
Oh yeah.
He sent me an eel with the backpack, and I'm like, this is so cool. I like the eels. And then I
Yeah. Yeah.
keep unwrapping it, and one of my grill items that I seen him on the peg in '82, seen him in '83. It was version 1 Stalker.
Oh yeah.
Plate. Or no, version 1.5 Stalker.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was
Definitely.
like, it stunned me. I mean, that is like one of the nicest things that anybody's ever done for me. And that's really cool.
That is
right
so
there.
awesome. Yeah. That,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
I love the
that
file
reminds
card.
me. I do too. I've got every figure I have. I've got to have the file card. That's just my little
Yeah.
quirk. But I know sometimes I catch the other guys too. Y'all have had them on Audible Interlude, and they do
Yeah.
that file card segment sometimes. And where his, I
Yeah.
think his dad's an old veteran, Lieutenant
Yeah.
Colonel. He'll talk about.
Yeah.
But man, that was nice of Larry to do that. Because that's a good figure, man.
Oh yeah.
That's a
I
very
mean,
very nice figure.
he's got some rough spots on him, but I'll never replace him.
No.
Right. Absolutely.
He's sitting right up there. I'm kind of working on the original 13. I'm not looking at him hard, but I'm just looking at him. And I've got a few
Well, who
together.
you missing? Shoot me a list.
Okay.
Shoot me a list. I'll tell you why nobody's listening to us, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's listening. But I may have some doubles of my. I collect OG-13. I can't get enough of them.
Right.
If I had 20 Cobra Commanders, I'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? But let me know, man. I mean, I may have some you're looking for. No, but that's a cool.
Yeah. And then Casey kicked me right in the gut. He got me started on Motu again. He sent me a Skeletor. And I'm like, son of a biscuit. I'm getting drugged right back in.
Son of a biscuit eater, huh?
Yeah.
Motu's just fun. I'm sorry. It's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
line.
Well, I've got to tell you guys something on that. I was at a Walmart about 30 minutes from here. Let's see, Tuesday night. My son had a baseball game out that way. And they had Moss Man, the deluxe set, I guess is, and for like $15 reduced. And they had the Sorceress. They had several of them. The bee guy, what's his name? Buzz.
Buzz off.
Buzz off.
Buzz off. Him and the a couple of others. Yes, I think I'm gonna go back and get that one. I really am. And I had about 4 or 5 of them in my hand and got to the register and I was like, oh, I gotta stay for Joefest.
Yeah.
So, but I may go back because I actually did buy a few when they first came out with, I call them the retro ones on the retro cards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what
Origins.
they're actually called. Origins.
Origins.
And Anthony bought me the 2-pack from Target that had like Skeletor before he became Skeletor. Is that who it was?
Yeah, Keldor.
Yes. And I had those and never opened them. And I was like, I think I ended up, I kind of sold them. I didn't mean to sell them, but I think I did it a lot or something, man. I don't know. But anyway, I'm thinking of grabbing some. But Eric, did I interrupt you, brother? I'm sorry.
You're fine. So I was just blown away by Casey's thoughts of sending me something cool. So I sent him something for his birthday.
He did.
That
And
started
it's
him down
unleashed.
the rabbit hole. Huh?
It's unleashed an expensive hobby.
I sent him blowback from Valiverse.
Oh
He's
yeah,
a
yeah,
sniper.
yeah. Didn't you have him in your top 5 the other day?
No, he's the reason I have a
No.
top 5 though.
Okay, maybe
So
that's what maybe that's what it was. I
this is kind
watched
of
it.
what he looks like with his ghillie suit on.
Man, those are. Well, let me ask you. Well, are they more expensive than classified?
This one was where it's a deluxe figure. It
Okay.
comes with a ghillie suit, sniper rifle case, sniper scope, or like a spotter scope. Like 3 different heads.
Oh wow,
6
yeah.
different hands. I mean, it's got one head that's a baklava. Then it's got just a regular camo head, and then it's got a head where he's got one eye squinted, and he's for like
Oh
looking through
man,
the
that's
scope.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
He's I think
Go
he's
ahead,
like
Eric.
50 some.
He's like 50. Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
because
that's
he's
what I
a
was.
deluxe and from a small
Right,
company, not
Yeah.
from a
right,
massive company. So
right.
And one
I like
thing
their fig. Like I say, I've got one and I love it.
I
yeah,
like about
they go
Valverse,
great with Joe. Go ahead.
yes, is whenever they're able to save money, they pass it on. Like
Hmm.
they just reduce their figure prices for their standard figures from
By
like 30
$2.
some
Yeah.
down to 29
Okay,
31 to 29. Yeah.
or something
cool.
like
That's
that.
Yeah.
yeah, because Hasbro's went up. I know that. Of course, everybody knows it, but since the last couple of years, I've seen where all the Hasbro figures have went up at Walmart.
Yeah.
So Lady J, she keeps coming down. There must be 150 Lady J's in Mobile.
Yeah. Well,
And for some reason, that was a figure I didn't have as a boy, Lady J. I don't know why. I've got her now, of course, but I just wasn't sure about the whole javelin thing at times.
yeah. I
So
never had her.
she's cool. Walmart. I was on Walmart. I always check Walmart website for sales, and they had her the other day for $4.95 in that retro card. I thought, man, that's even cheaper than the $12 she is here locally.
Yeah.
But I still didn't grab her.
I
But
do
yeah, man,
like that retro one a lot.
yeah, she looks good, and I'm probably gonna. They keep coming down, but there's a lot of them. If they don't
Yeah.
sell her here at 12, or she's either 12 or 16, you'll see them probably at Ross's. And I have 3 Ross's in driving distance, though I never found what everybody was finding last year.
Yeah. Me either.
The Viper 3-pack, and
Yeah.
never seen anything like that. But
I've never seen
um,
nothing. But
Ollie's, I hit Ollie's. We have 2 Ollie's, and all the Ollie's had at their store is the Lady J in the regular box, the first release of her, and then they have all the Snake Eyes movies figures. Well, not all of them. They've got.
There are some hidden gems in those Snake Eye movies.
yeah,
I think the
They
Scarlet
like
is
cool
better
figures.
than. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's my favorite Scarlet so far.
yeah.
Yes, I would agree. She's the one that really popped out.
The rest
You
of
don't
them,
have
I don't
it.
care. This is Scarlet.
Yeah, I didn't. I need to get. I missed out on the Storm Shadow they did here was it last year, the vintage looking Storm Shadow they did,
Yeah,
wasn't it, when he at Walmart?
Yeah.
I
I
yeah.
missed
didn't
out
get
on
that one
him.
either.
I'll keep
I
my
want the
eyes open.
retro Recondo. I want
got
the
that
retro Recondo. Yeah, he looks cool. I've hit the last few game stops where he's supposed to be showing up any day now. And Target, we have a Target, and man, it's always. I
Yeah.
think Target forgets about this Target because they don't get anything. But yeah,
It takes me an
those are
hour
some
to
cool
get
looking
to Target.
figures.
Okay. We're coming up on an hour and a
Yes.
half. So we're going to be wrapping it up here in a minute. But I have a question for you. It's a question
Yes,
I ask
sir.
everybody.
This is a good one.
If there is a a book series, a movie, a TV show, or a toy line from when you were a kid that's not being made right now that you would love to see made, what would that be?
I never had any of these, but I thought they were the coolest toys. And if I could see these toys remade in whether a 1/18th line or whatever, it'd be awesome. And I think that's Mask. Um,
Yeah.
I never had any Mask. I thought they were neat. My cousin had them when I went to visit him. I was like, oh, he's like, don't touch my toys.
Yeah.
I was younger than he was, but
Yeah.
but I liked the look of them. I remember the cartoon. You know, I think that's when it really jumps out. We had the turtles. We've had the turtles. We've had. I never was into Silverhawks. I thought they were neat,
Yeah.
but of course we have Star Wars. We had Marvel, DC. I don't know, man. I love the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
I love those, and I had some of the Toy Biz were not the greatest figures,
Right.
but even to see some of those made in maybe a better, a Hasbro or somebody else along those lines would be really cool. I've got the ones they sell at Walmart. What are they called? They did Gandalf and Legolas and Aragorn.
I know who you're
They're about
talking about.
5 inches tall.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've got the
they did
Gandalf.
they did a Sauron. Now I will tell you, I did the diamond. I did the diamond one, the first wave, and then they built the Sauron Build-A-Figure. They were really
Yeah.
cool, but I think Mask was a cool concept at its time. But I think that would be cool to see.
I have one
Maybe
mask
common one, I'm not
vehicle
sure.
from whenever I was a kid. It's the Raven is the Corvette, the black Corvette that turns
Hmm.
into a boat/plane,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
I loved it as a kid. To me, I was like, I crossed genres with my toys, so it was the Back to
Yeah,
the
me
Future
too.
car
Yeah, yeah,
because it'd have that thing pop up, and the lines going up the sides of it looked like it was electric as it was breaking the time barrier.
I love it, man. I know Joe. Y'all know Joe Torres, Mexican
Yeah,
Griswolds.
yeah,
I know he's got a pretty nice looking mask
yes.
collection, but Casey, I think that would be that's just one that jumps out of my head right now. To see done a fresh way, a new way,
Yeah. No,
bigger
I think a
figures.
lot of people would like that. I
It's
think that
cool.
would be a big seller, and I would be willing. I don't bet money because I don't like to lose money, but
Yeah, well, I
I
never
would
have either.
probably bet. I would probably bet that there will be mass figures in the next few years,
Yeah.
and I think 1/18 scale would be the scale for that because 1/12
Ra-
would be too
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah, for
You'd
the
have to
vehicle.
have
Yeah.
the vehicles. Yeah, but
Ramen
no, I think
did
it's great.
Ramen did the the red Camaro,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm
Oh,
like
okay.
Rachel Salinas. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your last name. My hillbilly tongue isn't letting me talk right. The Expendables would have been a great toy line. That plane that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go to a flea market and start like tracking down toys now.
All right. Does anybody have any pickups for this week that they got?
Well, Casey, you got anything?
I have two because
Drop
I'm on a
it.
kind of buying freeze because I got to save money for Joefest. But I
hmm
did pick up Delta 17 Shepherd.
That's cool.
Oh man, that is so cool.
These figures, I mean, I really do feel like 10-year-old Casey opening up his first Joe's.
It's a great feeling.
Yes. And Delta 17 Kestrel. These were the only two
Oh
figures I
man.
still needed to have the whole collection. So now I just need to work on some army builders. But I
Oh
cannot
yeah.
stress how great these figures are.
Yeah.
But that's all I
cool.
got this week.
I think I showed you guys mine earlier. Those three.
Yep.
The Night Force Big Ben and the Tunnel Rat and the classified stalk. Spirit. So that's the three I picked up this week. As far as I know, I can't remember. I think that's it.
Nice,
So,
Rachel.
yeah,
That's a great figure.
Yes, Rachel. I've got to have that figure, and I want the upgrade from. Oh my Lord, what's the name of the custom place we were just talking about?
Gridiron.
That does all the gridiron. Yeah, that's cool. I love it.
What
I
I
think
got,
Gridiron's going to be at Joefest. So
yeah,
if I heard right, I don't want to say 100% they're going to be there, but I believe they're going to be there. Or I just hope
they know what's good for them. They will.
Yeah. Operation Monster Force is going to be there too. Can't wait. Yeah. So what I picked up was gifts. Two of them came all the way across the pond from India, and Frank and Joe Customs sent these to me. He said this could be a stand-in for a Dino Hunter, Joe. And then he sent me this Fun School sci-fi version 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
then
cool. That's cool.
Bill, I can't pronounce his Instagram handle because my slow hillbilly tongue won't let me pronounce stuff.
I know the feeling, brother.
He sent me my first ever scoop, and this guy sneak peek. I have trouble with sneak. Yeah, I never had sneak peek as a kid.
I didn't either.
So
neither scoop.
I didn't either. So that's my haul for the week.
Nice hauls, fellas.
Yep.
Nice haul.
I can't.
Man, I've enjoyed it.
I can't get over how nice Frank and Joe is. That's not his real name. That's one of his accounts that I follow him on. Again, hillbilly tongue, can't pronounce very well, so I'm just going to stick with what I can pronounce. I think you call him Avi or something like that. But this Fun School figure, man, it'll definitely take a place of honor in my collection.
Oh yeah, man.
Absolutely. I have this habit, like if somebody sends me something, it automatically is just like it means so much to me. So like Casey's going to send me his flag to store for him.
Casey is not.
And James is going to send me that silent interlude Snake Eyes.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
I'm so
But that's all I have.
James, like we always say, we appreciate anybody who watches.
Yeah, James, where can we find you at?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Where can we find you at?
What'd you say, Eric?
Where can we find you at?
Here on Instagram, Facebook, James Passman. I think you guys were in a Facebook group together, aren't we, or a chat?
Yep.
And let's see, I'm not on X or Twitter. I've got a YouTube channel, there's nothing on it. I think about start doing some reviews on YouTube, just doing that, to enjoy myself, give me a reason to do more stuff. But hey, I was going to tell you, we're coming in Thursday on Joefest week, so we'll be there Thursday afternoon. So Eric's got my number. I know you feel free to pass it on.
Will do.
If you guys want to maybe grab some lunch or dinner that night. I don't know if y'all have plans already. I'm not sure, but we'll talk about that. But man, listen, I want to say thank y'all thank you guys for letting me come on. I've had a great time. I've shared the story, and it's always enjoyable. And I watch your podcast. Sometimes I'm a week or two late.
That's all right.
And right now, I've been busy with my kids, both in sports, but that's slowing down. The next week's the last week of that. So, but I always enjoy it, man. I always enjoy your guests. But anyway, thank you guys for letting me come on here and just talk about something I enjoy.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming on. I've really enjoyed this. It's been a lot of fun. So everybody check him out at Still a Big Kid. He doesn't think he takes great pictures, but he does.
He does some
awesome toys.
cool stuff.
So check him out there, and if you could give us a like. If you don't subscribe to us, please subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Tell your friends, family.
Next week.
Hit that subscribe button, maggots, and do it. Take care, gentlemen.